Kirby Smart just dragged your program and got legislation involved, as well as, oh, this just in, another signing class is going to revolutionize Georgia, as well as a new hire on offense. Next, Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. My name is Clint. We're here every single day talking about UGA, and we love that you are here too. This is for fans, by fans. Thank you for the everydayers that are here with us every day, and the first listeners, those who make sure to download and listen every single day. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time, gametime.co, Game Time app. More on them in a second. Today, we're talking about three things. We're talking about, signing day is here. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Who are the rankings? Where are the rankings of the recruits that we sign, and how do they move up? What are their stars? Where did we place? We're going to talk about a new hire that Georgia fans want to happen on offense that when you look at first, you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And then you realize, oh, wait a second. It could actually be better for us that you wanted it on offense, but it's on defense. And last, I should say, we're talking about Kirby Smart. Let's talk about it right now. Kirby Smart drags your program. Let's start there. Boss Kirby Smart just kicked your backside. If you are a fan, if you're a team, if you're a program of anybody else besides Georgia, this is what I mean. Georgia has just proposed a bill to make NIL exempt from paying state income tax. There's many senators in Georgia who are making this the case. And what this would do, it would make a direct correlation between NIL deal and everything that these recruits are getting. Now, some of this is still fuzzy, as NIL is continually fuzzy. And Kirby Smart is working around the edges, and he's working around the phrase, and he's working the margins of the gray that is NIL. No one can tell me definitively what will take place with name, image, likeness, and how it will be capped, if there is going to be a cap, how much is going to be allowed for these players, if there will be that case, if it's going to be levied across all conferences. This is why everybody still thinks we are heading to a big super team, 2 mega conferences with the best of the best and 20 teams in each or something like that, and fight it on back, and then you get 8 and 8 or whatever it's going to be for the playoff. That's why everybody still thinks that's on the horizon, because how do you adjudicate one NIL cap when there's different conferences and people are signing TV deals and revenue streams, and it gets messy in a hurry. But Kirby Smart is working in the phrase. He's working the edges. He's working in the places that you think no one should be working or didn't anticipate it. And he pulls up with something that's actually quite remarkable. He says NIL should not be levied state income tax. Now, this is unique for a couple of reasons. What it is saying is, one, your NIL deal is in the state of Georgia. He's making that border around Georgia even more bold, even higher fence, because you go outside of the state of Georgia. Now, many other colleges will likely try to follow suit. It probably won't take place in many other places because of the implications that we don't know exactly what's going to happen with this in Georgia even. My anticipation is that all of a sudden, if there's a collective in which you get name, image, likeness, a place like California comes up and says, well, I get name, image, likeness because of advertising, because I'm on commercials. And so my name, image, likeness, I'm going to start rewriting my contracts to make sure that my agent specifies I am not being paid, but my use of my name, image, and likeness is being paid. Oh, now we got something else going on. Now, you think California is going to go ahead and say no state income tax on movie stars? On Matthew McConaughey saying the same stupid name 20 times and getting paid for it? Cannot stand Matthew McConaughey. I don't think that's the case. I think Georgia is going to be one of the handful of states where this is allowed. And it's making sure that if you get NIL, you got to stay in Georgia, man, to get that tax exemption. And that tax exemption is going to go ahead and actually give some leg up. It gives a bonus amount, even if it's 5 to 10% or whatever percentage has for certain brackets and certain taxable income and certain contracts, whatever it is. that's a lot, because rumor has it that a bunch of places like Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, a couple other big schools have already tapped out their NIL resources for the 2025 season. And now all these other transfer portal kids are just going to have to sit back, wait, and hope that they get into a program that allows them to get something else on their own, a la Arch Manning, who now gets a TV deal or a commercial spot in which name, image, and likeness is truly what it is, not just from the university or from a collective, but from an actual institution straight to him. Okay, here's why this is a boss move. And here's why he just kicked the backside of everybody else. One, I already said, keeps players and keeps this NIL in the state of Georgia. Two, Kirby has shown to be an innovator yet again. All the other schools, you can go $40 million in debt, Ohio State, to buy yourself a championship. And by the way, paying to keep your players is still purchasing a actual national champion. Like, okay, I don't know how else to tell you. You spend money, it's still spending money. You could tell me, what's all the same players? Okay, not all of it. And it's because they were going to go elsewhere. So you paid your girlfriend in jewelry to stick around with you. They don't like, I can't help you, Ohio State fan. It's fine. Like, you want to say everybody does it. Okay, not everybody. Stetson Bennett. Hello. I can't. Okay. Anyway, here's what he's showing to be an innovator. He's showing that he is not just going to stand idly by. He's not going to complain about NIL. He's not going to complain about tampering like some other losers at Nebraska. He's not going to do that. He's just going to go out and he's going to work. And he's going to grind, and he's going to say, I'm finding innovative ways to help my guys get the most maximization that they can have. I'm not only developing players, I'm developing a new way to do footballing. Do you see why this is such a big deal in a day and age in which marketability, social programming, social engineering is so key? Kirby Smart is saying, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not terrified by it. I'm not shying away from it. I am leaning into it. And I'm here for it. Truth be told, I am very here for it. I think Kirby Smart is broadcasting to all of college football. I'm not gonna let you come poach. I'm gonna think of ways in which, not just giving out cash to a recruit that said, well, it was the package that sold me on a program. That's fine. Go play for your money somewhere else. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. Honestly, this isn't sour grapes of a recruit of a 5-star that goes, go do that. But you have to produce now. Like, this is why the LeBron decision is so hilarious to me. Not 1, not 2, not 3, is because he didn't deliver. Like, you can say, oh, that was all pomp and circumstance. That's fine. But homie's already out of the NBA and they're looking to the future. Because and you can say, well, he's 40 years old. What? The point is, he shot his shot and it wasn't high enough. He tried for the moon. He didn't get there. You can say, well, it was the package. I'm worth this much. Okay, now go perform. Kirby Smart is saying, you come here, I'm going to get you a deal and you're going to keep everything. I'm going to maximize talent. I'm going to maximize my dudes, and I'm going to maximize the effort that I have and the sway I have and the ability I have to talk about legislation. Like, we all talk about Nick Saban running for president. Kirby Smart out here making law. This is big because of the cultural phenomenon that is Kirby Smart and UGA football. We're going to come back after this. I'm going to talk about a hire for UGA on the defensive side. You thought it was going to be on offense. That's what everybody hoped, but it's not. And I'm going to tell you why it's great. And also, signing day has come and gone. We used to sit around like it was Christmas. I'm going to tell you what this class looked like and how important it is and how impressive it is. But first, I want to let you guys know about these. These are, in fact, Game Time. GameTime.co, Game Time app. Download it right now. Get on over there. Here's what Game Time is going to do. It's very simple. It's very easy. If you got a concert, if you got a baseball game, you got a basketball game, you got a football game, you got anything that you want to get into that involves a ticket that comes straight to your phone and is the best price in the entire industry, well, you just define Game Time. GameTime.co, Game Time app. Download it now. Put the slider on over, and you're going to go ahead and get every single upfront price right there. Taxes, fees included. Boom, right up front before you go to checkout. And it's going to be the cheapest that you can find. Otherwise, they're going to give you 110% back to you. 110% back to you if they can't do it. It's fantastic. It's wild. It's great. GameTime.co. And right now, use promo code LockedOnCollege, $20 off your first order. LockedOnCollege, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. GameTime.co. Get in the game. We're back and we're talking about a few other things. We're going to get to a Kirby Smart hire after we do some recap of the signing day. Now, this is really wild. I talked before about how the Roquan Smith, somebody please send me an old fax machine that's decommissioned, and I just want to put Roquan's number on it and talk about how great it was that we got him away from UCLA. Those days are dead and gone. I want to talk about where we are as a signing class right now and what it looks like for us, who these players are, and what importance they play within this recruiting cycle. I want to start with first where Georgia ranks in respect to all the other universities. Right now, we are consensus top 3, no matter where you look, no matter what's going on across the board. Your favorite recruiting expert across, it's top 3. Now, top 3, top 4, top 5, that's where you really, again, get nitpicky. If you really want to go ahead and try to go ahead and say, hey, this class is above this class, I don't really have a problem with 1, 2, 3, 4, even maybe even 5 in this day and age, saying we have a legit chance to be the best signing class when all is said and done. No problem with that, because as we said before, recruiting analytics, it's a lotto ticket. You say, I have a ticket. It's a higher percentage to hit than another kid. A 5-star has a higher percentage to be a game-changing contributor than a 3-star kid. But it doesn't mean that it's equal in the weight of impact. You cash on a lotto ticket, you still cash on it. It might have better odds, but when a 3-star cashes, it cashes the same intensity that a 5-star cashes. That's the difference. We're not talking about this as it's a dynamic scale. It's not a static. It's not a stoic scale, y'all. It doesn't just sit there and it's like, well, if I get a 5-star and a 3-star and I develop them equally, a 5-star will all the time be ahead of a 3-star. No, it doesn't work like that. They're lotto tickets. You want more odds in the lotto. So if I were to say to you, lotto has 5 numbers, I'm going to give you one of the numbers or none of the numbers. You're going to say, well, give me one of them. That starts me off already with a better percentage ahead of everybody else, because I could go 0 for 5. What if I was 1 for 5? Okay, that's better. I still have to hit it. That is what these recruiting services are. Georgia, top 3 consensus. Texas, Alabama, Ohio State, and Oregon also in the top 5. And here's where we rank. I first want to put this in comparison to the rest of everybody else. Right now, Georgia has an average, this is over on 24/7, average of 92.85 per recruit. So the average recruit in Georgia's class is 92.85. Compare that to Texas. Texas got 93.6. Alabama, 93.42. Then Ohio State, 92.46. If you look on the averages, actually the team that comes above is Oregon. Oregon has 20 commits. Georgia has 28 commits. Alabama 21, Texas 25. The average for Oregon 94.37. This is, of course, at the time of recording. Oregon's going to go up from that because they're going to have some more kids after school and do all that. But as of right now, Georgia firmly top 3. Okay, here's where I want to get to. And this is very crucial, and I want you to actually listen to this, because I don't want you to play the game that we all fall victim to. We all fall victim to the Trenton Thompson. Okay, Trenton Thompson is a great example to me. If you look at the all-time signings of Georgia, like just, hey, who are the best signed recruits of all time at Georgia? You look at it, and it's guys like Justin Fields, Trenton Thompson, Brandon Miller, Jacob Eason. I wouldn't say Jacob Eason hit for us. That wasn't a lot of ticket that came home. I wouldn't say Brandon Miller was a dud, but he didn't pull a LeVar Arrington. He didn't pull a Micah Parsons. Justin Fields, okay. Trenton Thompson, he was fine. Like, again, he went to the draft, didn't have nearly what he thought he was going to get. Somebody gave him bad information in that, but he's in the top 5 of best signees ever at Georgia. Now, I don't want you to fall victim to look at the rating, look at the rank, and think this guy's going to be hit. Don't do that. I'm here to tell you what I think each one of these lotto tickets will hit on. What percent, if I think the percentage is good, like this is a fair percentage, or I think, oh, this percentage is way low, or oh, this percentage might be high, doesn't mean I don't think they're going to develop. What I do think is maybe our perception of them is not as high or low as it needs to be. Okay, let's start with the 2 prized possessions, maybe even 3, because Georgia does have, in fact, in this signing class, a number of 5 stars. Georgia has 5 stars in this recruiting cycle. And here's where I want to start with. I want to start with Elijah Griffin. 6'5", 300 pounds, coming out of Savannah. This cat, to me, this is the most important piece of this entire recruit cycle. A big bodied, fast, electric, concrete hands, middle of the line disruptor and chaos maker. I need it more than I need air. I need it on that defensive side. Ever since we've gotten away from that identity, Kirby Smart has identified that as let's double down on that in the recruiting cycles. Elijah Griffith to me is the most important part. He does in fact come in as a third nationally ranked recruit. His rating is out of this world. Next, Isaiah Gibson, edge 6'4", 270. Another guy who I think is right in. I think Elijah Griffin should be up to that. I think the loud ticket has the best chance of hitting out of everybody. Isaiah Gibson, second best odds. I have no problem with that. I'm about to get to a guy that I think should be higher on everybody's list, and he's still ridiculously high, top 25. But I think Isaiah Gibson gets more fanfare because edge, you like them on the edge more, the Jalen Walker, the Michael Williams. That gives you some excitement because you think sack numbers. I'm here to tell you, Elijah Griffin should be the one that you're most excited about. Juan Gaston, we've already talked about his meteoric rise up the rankings from something like 150 all the way up to 39 or something in some national recruiting services. He comes in as a 5-star, 6'7", 365. There's a good chance he actually could stay at tackle, but I think he does go into guard. And I think if he's at guard, his lotto ticket hits more. I think if he stays at tackle, might be a lower chance because the footwork and the technique is not there. Like right now, today is not there. If he goes to guard, he doesn't have to be necessarily, but if he goes to tackle, he must improve that. Juan Gaston is fantastic. And this is the kid. He's 22nd nationally ranked, 5-star. Zayden Walker. Everybody, just everybody. Justin Williams is on already here, like 100%. I'm thrilled for him to be here. I think Justin Williams has a Patrick Willis type vibe to him in my mind. Zayden Walker might have that same exact thing as well. He does, in fact, likely have more of a pass rush ability. I think Zayden Walker has more of a pass rush ability than Justin Williams. I think Justin Williams is more in the lane of CJ Allen, not the same type of player. I think Zayden Walker has more of that. I'm going to do a double A-gap blitz and send him going. This is a dude upon dudes. I think his lotto ticket is exactly where it needs to be. A couple other guys, Talon Taylor, we've already just raved about him. We think he's good. Chase Linton was a recruit on the edge who it was contested all the way through, absolutely contested. And we got him finally after decommitting and coming up. He had a meteoric rise as well. He's a little smaller on the edge right now, but I don't think that's going to last for too much longer. He's the top 50 recruit on the edge, and I think he's going to skyrocket. Williams tight end is now the number 1 tight end in the nation. And 6'7", 235 made of bricks. You could see why. All in all, this class worked out exactly what it was. There's not much, again, not much mystery anymore of what's happening in life for a lot of people come National Signing Day. But this is going to be looked back upon in a couple of years. And I don't think we're going to have to wait long to see a bunch of these guys impact. I think freshmen play a great deal more in the NIL transfer portal era. I really, really do. Especially because you have to hunt and peck for guys to fill the depth elsewhere. I think freshmen that can play, KJ Bolden, hello. Linebackers, hello. Outside edge, all of them are going to be there to play a lot. And I think we're going to hit on a bunch of these guys. I'm not going to really talk bad about anybody in this class. I think if I were to look at somebody and say, I wonder with him, I think Ryan Montgomery sits in a couple of recruiting cycles that just sucks to be him. Puglisi and Gunnar Stockton, as well as possibly Jared Curtis coming behind him. I think that just sucks to be him. Cortez Smith, interior of the offensive line. I think he's going to be fine, but I think people maybe overlook him. I think he's just going to be fine where he is. Anthony Crua, linebacker, people rave about this kid. Jury's still out for me. I'm going to wait a second to see what happens with that. I'm going to come back after this, tell you about a absolute killer hire because of what I just talked about, the recruiting services, as well as guys already on in Athens for what they're doing. But first, these. All right, we're back. We're the loyal third segment listeners right now. And I don't know if you know what that means. It means a whole heck of a lot for you and I, because the little third segment listeners are those it's for fans by fans every single day. And you guys are why we do this podcast. Daniel's not here. Daniel is sick, by the way. So T's and P's up for him because he is in fact sick. I'm going to talk about a little kind of under the radar thing that maybe Georgia fans saw this to begin with and clicked on it because it was clickbait. And I want to encourage you to not be upset. And I want to encourage you to look on the positive side of this instead of being negative on it and say what could have been. We hired a analyst from South Carolina, or I'm sorry, Southern Cal. And we think to ourselves, okay, USC, Lincoln Riley, holy geez, offensive juggernaut. We get a wide receiver from there. Well, hold on a second, because I think everybody reads that and everybody says, oh man, this has to be offensive minded. And if it's not, how dare we? We missed out on opportunity. Everybody's still begging, and I mean begging, for Buster Faulkner to come on over. Anyway, so South Carolina linebacker at one point, who is, look, absolutely, I think a stud hire for us. I think he played in the NFL. He played at South Carolina. He has roots. He has an analyst job. And so everybody that saw the clickbait thing and then goes on over there. Let me just tell you why the one-time Gamecock and one-time Trojan and one-time Raider, now Georgia coach, he's going to be coaching outside linebackers, which is huge for two reasons. Outside linebacker, one-time analyst, now going to have some work. One, y'all remember another South Carolina coach, the Vein, who's more in the analyst role, more off the field, but was right there with old ball coach at South Carolina. Okay, that same bloodline, that same tree, if you will. Great. He's going to come from that too. Hey, guess what happens to all those recruits and all the need and all the necessity we have for edge defenders that we lost everybody to this coming draft? Guess where we just got more pop, more insight, better analysis, better eyes on than we have before. Glenn Schumann, Kirby Smart, head of the defense. Glenn Schumann might be in his last year at Georgia only because he's waiting and hunting and pecking. The SEC had no turnover this year in head coaches. I don't know if Glenn stays in the SEC. It would be really hard to stay in the SEC and play against your old team and have success. That's really, really hard. Maybe Big 10, maybe the Big 12. But a lot of openings. There was not a lot of notable coaches being fired. I think Glenn Schumann's last season is this because he's already been rumored to a bunch of places, South Carolina being one of them, until Beamer came along and had the success he does, and now is locked up until 2030. This is huge because Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann now get to focus on the big picture and the outside linebackers that we need a lot of help. Chaz Chambliss gone, Michael Williams, Jalen Walker. I can keep going on and on and on. Portal got some guys coming in and guys already on site that have to. Daniel and I talked about how the position groups, actually interior defensive line, a little gutted as well. We need to see more of a standing wall on their end to move that line of scrimmage back. The next group that has to, every time you do fingers, like little peace sign balloons come up on YouTube. If you're on the audio side, you just missed it. Have to have the outside backers, the edge defenders step up. And we have a number of talented guys. They just need developed. They have to have more intensity, more reps, and better development in a hurry. We're in the quickest of quick bake ovens for some of these guys. And some have been here for a while. Some have been in the program for not just a hot minute, but for a standard amount of time. And from year one to year two, especially coming out of high school, especially redshirt freshmen, we have a couple of guys that can play ball. But guys, gals, we got a tough schedule again. We still got Tennessee, who Kirby Smart has already said, if you stop for 2.5, 3 seconds, if you get to the quarterback, their passing game has nothing. They don't have crisp route runners. We'll be fine. Just get there. Okay, well, you got to have guys to get there. Alabama, do you remember how soft we were against Alabama? Do you remember Texas? What really, really sunk the deal for us against Texas was that the fact that we stopped their running game. We had less combined rushing yards against us than anybody else. Like Texas was just shut down when they played Georgia. That was a large in part because of Chaz Chambliss, Jalen Walker, huge Michael Williams, huge in those efforts. We need the quickest turnaround in coaching as long as I've been following Georgia at that group. I have high hopes for this. And I think this is really important because if you look at what Kirby Smart has wanted to do, it has reestablished the trenches in this recruiting cycle, in this coaching hires, in the focus and effort he has done. He went out and got brand new wide receivers because he said the play calling isn't the issue. It's the fact that we can't catch. So guess what? New wide receivers. Done. Check. Shopping list 1. Done. Shopping list 2. We were soft on defense and got it handed to us. Got our teeth kicked in. Okay, great. Shopping list number 2. I already have a bunch of recruits that I know and I trust, and they're already here. I just need to have coaching. I lost one of my good friends and coach to the analyst side of things, and he stepped away. Okay, great. Go do your thing. I need somebody to develop these kids, and I can develop a lot of them. I can develop some DBs. Glenn Schumann can develop inside backers. We have, talk about D-line development. There is no question on the interior defensive line development. That last year we got soft in a couple spots. Injuries had a lot to do with that. We started the year with lower leg injuries, ended the season with lower leg injuries. This, to me, is a great decision by Kirby. He goes and gets a guy with SEC ties, connections to the old ball coach, and at a position of need that we have to have so bad if we anticipate going back to the playoffs. Many of you might not like it because you saw coaching hire and you automatically assumed it was on the offensive side of the ball. I'm here to tell you, it's easy pickings to say the offense sucks. And if you're like, oh, he's defending Bobo. I'm not defending Bobo. What I'm saying is order of priority. You can tell me Mike Bobo needs to go. We could do better. I'm not fighting that. What I'm fighting is we could win a national championship with him. Because if our defense isn't soft, we run the ball well, and our offensive line pushes people off, and our receivers don't drop passes. Like, we're beating Notre Dame. We're beating Notre Dame. I don't know if we beat Ohio State. I have no idea. But we're the national championship. I just want us to take a step back, and I just want us to see that he's addressing the most glaring needs, not the most public, but to me, when you look at the tape, when you understand, when you see the development of Georgia over last year, we needed to get tenacity and tough as nails on defense. We needed new wide receivers. Guys, we're talented. We can get there. It's not going to be an overhaul. It is just going to be some leveling out of everything. And that's exactly what Kirby Smart's done. I am Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. We'll be back tomorrow talking about them Dogs, breaking down more news, more analysis. We'll see you guys then.